all my failures are a result of my ignorance. My ignorance to know my worth and my ignorance to accept mediocrity from myself. That because the mediocrity is coming from me, it's okay. That will be my greatest failure. And my failures range from decisions I made that I'm not so proud of. You know, as a young leader in Kenya, there are many decisions that I made that I'm like, I shouldn't have done that. And that's why I'm talking about accepting mediocrity from me, because it's me. And there are others where people did things to me that I allowed myself to sit in this place, dark place. And I allowed myself to sit there for too long than I should have. I could have sat there for a minute and then I could have walked out of it. So as you notice, my name is Mwangi Mukami. I use my mother's name because I didn't have such a great relationship with my dad. And not that I didn't have a relationship with him personally, it is that the stories and the experiences I had had of him impacted me so greatly when I was a child that I didn't want anything with him, right? My dad and I were walking one day, and I was 10, 11, and I called him Dad. But when I called him Dad that day, his other son was there. And he said, don't call me that name, because if you call me that name, it will bring confusion to my other son. So it's basically saying, when my other son is here, don't call me Dad, because I want to be a dad only to him, not to you. And I remember feeling really angry, but I didn't know what to do with that statement. And for years, I purposed in my life to erase him, to obliterate him. So I almost sued my school when I was 14. I wanted to visualize that in Africa, trying to sue the school so that I can have my mother's name. I even refused to travel if my mother's name was not put on my passport. I just wanted to obliterate him from my life. I wanted to kill him before he had died physically. And I didn't want to kill him literally, I just wanted to erase him completely in my life. And so one day when I was doing an event, somebody came and asked me, you talk highly of your mom. You've never ever talked about your dad. I said, yeah, because he died. There was a big accident, he got hit in it, we buried him, he's good. And I didn't think about my statement until years later when this person came and said, well, I know the pain you've gone through with your dad being dead. And I'm like, he's alive, what are you talking about? But I had so much pain and I hadn't figured out how to deal with it. And I'm glad I'm laughing about it right now, because that is one of the pain. Those are some of my failures, I will say, where I didn't know how to get myself out of my abyss. I didn't want to seek help, and I allowed ignorance to live supreme. I don't need to love my dad. I would love my dad, but I don't need to love him. I could have forgiven him at that time if I wanted, or I could not have forgiven him. But I didn't have to make my life build upon that pain. And it is okay to build your life around that pain, but I didn't have to make it my story. And so now it's not my story. It's not something that I'm painful or angry or get or crazy about. And I'm not saying that those who do is wrong. I'm just saying that I refuse to make it my story. And so that's the same, I'll say, as a failure in life. It is when us collectively decide that something is either too painful or you've invested too heavily on it to let it go. And you wallow in this mediocrity. My dad will say that. Or you wallow in this thing where you don't want to live the past cocoons, the past successes, the past failures. That's my dad. He will say exactly that. And they know why, because of positionality. But I will say the same from a context not of positionality, but a context of realization. That the only journey you take in this life that is worth your time is life itself. And life itself is meant to be enjoyed. It's meant to break you. It's meant to cheer you on. It's meant to help you succeed. And eventually, when it silences you forever, the only thing you should remember is that you lived it right. You let go of things you could do as quickly as you can, when you can. You embrace what was new for you. You embraced what was painful for you, you learned from it, and you moved on when you could.